Hey guys, this is Top, and we're back for another Revit tutorial. This time we're going to be covering how to insert a pile cap on top of your caisson. So I believe the normal way of doing this is to go to the structure and go to isolated and then load in the pile cap. But so that way there's some problems when you're doing it that way, and what we discovered is that the rectangular pile cap end up being on the bottom of your caisson, and that's not what we want. And this issue revolves with the way that this caisson family was created. So another workaround for that is to so I went ahead and I created a new caisson, or adjusted the original caisson family and added a the pile cap on top of it, and you can see that here. Open it up. So it basically so here it is, the caisson with the pile cap on top. So now all you have to do is just download this new caisson family, the updated one. So for my section, it should be in your box folder. I believe I sent you an email as well. For other section, I believe I shared this with your TA, and they should send you an email if this applies to what you're doing. Anyway, so let's go back to our plans. So for a structural framing plan, as you know, we are going to insert these our new updated caisson with the pile cap on top. So if you have the original one created, what you're going to have to do is you have to select the original one. If they're the same type, you can just go to select all instance, entire project, and then in the properties, you're going to have to find the caisson family, the new updated one, and you're going to have to change all your caisson to that size. Some of the bigger ones, you're going to have to go back and readjust their size and their top of caisson elevations. But this is like the only way, I think, the easiest way for you guys to have an accurate caisson with the pile cap on top. And then now what you should see on the properties are more dimensions options that you can insert into your caisson, such as the pile cap thickness, the length, and the width. So these are instance parameters. So if I change, for example, the length right now is 4 foot. If I wanted to increase it to like 6 by 6, so I just type in 6 foot for the length and then 6 foot for the width. Hit enter, and then it'll get bigger. And if you need to change the thickness for any reason, you can change that as well. So if I want this to be like 6 foot, change it to 6 foot. If I want it 4 foot, change it to that. And then we go to our elevation. So I think most of you have your caisson at about 5 foot below the grade level. Let me change this to grade level. And then add in another level so you guys can see a little bit better. And change this to top of caisson. Change this to minus 5 foot. So for most of you guys, the top of caisson should probably be at around 5 foot. Doesn't matter what they are, just make sure they're around this height. And then your caisson is going to be around, the thickness of that is going to be around 4 foot. And then this gap here, this 1 foot gap, what we're going to put on top of that is your the floor slab that's going to support your building. So before we put that floor slab, what we're going to do is we're going to insert columns for the framing plan. And to do that, similar to how you would load other caisson families or any families, for structure, you're going to go to your structure tab and then go to structural framing or wherever you are creating your structural framing. And you're going to go to structure, column, and then we're going to load structural columns. We're going to pick concrete, and we're going to pick concrete rectangular column. And so now you can insert these columns on top in the center of your pile cap. Now what's going to happen is that so these are in place right now, but if we go to our view, our 3D view, our column is sort of inserted on the bottom level. And to fix that, to make sure that they stay on top of our caisson, we just have to change the properties, our base and our top level constraint. So to do that, in your properties panel, look at the base level and change that to wherever the ground level is. In my case is grade. And then on the top level, I'm going to change it to level 2. So the top level, it doesn't really matter as long as it's above the grade level. These columns, they're going to go pretty much the extent of the building height. But right now we're not that far yet, so it doesn't really matter what it is. Just make sure it's above the grade level. And then I can even offset this, but right now I'm not going to. Actually, I'll make it like 20 foot so it's a little bit easier to see. So you can see our column is on top of caisson. Well, not really, because I need to change the base level offset to -1 foot because our pile cap is only 4 foot. So if we change that to -1 foot, it should be directly on top of the caisson. And you can see that here. So you're pretty much going to do that for wherever your structural plan indicates these columns, like right here. The size of these columns, just try to eyeball it. If you want to be super accurate with it, you're going to have to look at the structural details provided on Compass. But I think if you guys want to quickly get this done, just try to eyeball the size. Alright, so if we look here, we can change the size by going to edit type and then the base and the height. So base 1 foot, height 1'6", so the height might be like 3 foot. Then there you go. Now it's a little bit longer. And if you want to poche, if you watch the previous tutorials, you're gonna change it in visibility graphic. Shortcut for that is VV. And then scroll down to find structural column. Then the cut pattern, change it to override. And then change the color to gray and pattern to solid fill. Hit OK. And now it's dark. And then to put it onto the other caisson pile caps, you can either just, I think the easiest way is just copy this since the height is already adjusted for you. So just copy it. So if you hit copy, at the top there are these little checkbox, multiple and constrain. Constrain will lock the movement into one direction. So it might be in the X direction, it might be in the Y direction. And then if you check multiple, it will allow you to copy multiple components without, selecting this and then hitting the copy button again. So this saves a little bit of time. Oh, another thing is make sure the detail level, if we go to fine, you can't see the pile cap. But if we change it to coarse, you should be able to see the pile cap. So if you have this detail level at fine, you might not be able to see it. But if you go to like coarse, it'll be there. And then I think medium, you should see it as well. And for any reason, if you don't want to see these pile cap, if you sometime you might get errors where the pile caps, you don't want to see it in particular drawings, like your foundation. Let's say, this foundation plan was in like course, and the pile caps is there, and then you want to see your caisson shaft. You can click on the caisson, and on the bottom there's this visibility parameters that you can click. If you uncheck it, that pile cap is gone, and then you can see your the shaft again, the diameter of the caisson shaft. So back to structural framing. Part of the structural framing that you'll have to do is to put in walls. And the easiest way to do that is to go to the architecture tab at the top, pick a wall, generic is fine, and then pretty much just click and insert the wall according to the construction documents. These walls, just make sure the base constraint and the top constraint is at the correct height. Base constraint should be at that -5 foot. So it should be the same level as the top of caisson. For my case, is top of caisson, and the top constraint is pretty much the grade level. And make sure they're all the same. Change this to top of caisson, and then this to grade. There you go. And then now you can see that this sort of lines up with our foundation. So I'm just gonna quickly put in a square wall around my my plan. For you guys, you're gonna have to follow the drawing and pretty much get all these like jagged corner here. Try to get it as accurate as possible based on the plan. For these measurements, just try to eyeball it. Change this to top of caisson, and then this to grade. Okay. And another thing with the structural framing is that you will need to include the slab for the floor. And in order to insert the floor, go to architecture and then find floor, click on that. You can use this generic one, and you're pretty much just gonna draw in. So up here there are different type of shape that you can draw. One is a square and one is a line. So line is good for like if you have complicated shape, you can kind of follow the contour or the outline of that shape. But because I drew a square, I'm just going to use the square button. Then there you go. I'm gonna hit no. So now we have our floor, and that floor right now is at grade level, and it's covering up our the pile cap. So if you want to see the pile cap while working with the floor, you can in the property panels, without selecting anything, just the view, go to underlay, right here, underlay, and then in the range base for so the range base for the base level, change it to top of caisson, and then now you should see a little all your caisson in a dash or in a light line where those are located. And now the next thing is to include openings for elevator pits. So if we go to plan, you guys should be able to see that these squares here is reserved for this one is for elevators. This one, it might be for mechanicals or other things, but basically there's a hole in the floor. So in order to add the hole in the floor, you're just going to edit your the floor. So go to edit boundary, and you're going to use either the line tool or the square tool in the modify tab to create openings for your elevator pits. So if I have an elevator pit around here, I'm just going to draw a square. Then here, I'll draw another square. Then check mark, hit no. And then now there's hole for my elevators in my floor slab. Let's go back to okay, structural frame, good. So you can see a little bit that this here is a floor slab. And then so these elevator pit here, the one located like to the side here, they're sunken down a little bit, and to create that accurately, you're just gonna create a floor where that square opening is. So I'm just gonna go to, it's kind of hard to see it right now in the plan view, so I'm just gonna go to a 3D view. I'm gonna hit the top, and then I'm gonna draw a floor where those holes are. Looks like I only made one, so I just draw this one here. I'm gonna hit enter, and then because it's sunken, I think around 5 foot, I'm gonna change the height offset to -5 foot. So now, if we rotate, you can see that that floor is sunken down 5 foot. So these here, these caisson, you might then have to adjust their offset so that the pile cap is directly underneath this particular floor. So this caisson might have to be -10 foot. Let's see. Oh, sorry, can't use negative. There you go. And then you have these gap here. So pretty much how you fill them is to create walls, just like your the boundary wall, perimeter wall that you created. You're just gonna go to structural frame, and then where the holes are, you're just gonna create your wall. So just put them like that. And then in your modified, you have this little tool at the top here called align, AL for shortcut. The symbol is a square and a rectangle. If you click that, and you click on a side that you want to align to, like this line here, and you click on the side of the wall, like right here for instance, you might have to tab to select it. It's not letting me do it. So if I hit this grid line and then I hit the wall, it should align that side of the wall to the grid line. So this is a quick way to align certain elements if you need to. So this way is a little bit more clean. And then this wall is a little bit too high, so I'm just going to change the base constraint and top constraint. So it changes to base of caisson. Now changes to grade so that it's within our hole. Oops, not base of caisson, top of caisson, sorry. And then so right now our object is overlapping a little bit. I'm just gonna do a -1 foot for the top offset so that it's below the floor. There you go. And then this floor, so if you click on this wall and hit, so if you kind of highlight the wall and hit tab, if it's like a simple close object, you can kind of select the whole thing quickly by pressing tab. So I'm gonna do an offset of -1 foot for the base, so I can get this floor to align with the so I can get the wall aligned with the wall. Yep, that's pretty much it for the structural framing. Just you're pretty much gonna insert the columns on top of your pile cap, and then inserting the walls where necessary. So if we look at the plan, all these darker pochette lines, those are walls that kind of go to the extent of the building. The one that are dashed is below the floor slab. Okay, so that's pretty much it for structural framing. If you have any questions, email me and your TA, and we should be able to help you.